I'm saying?
That was the whole thing.
But Brad he's really rough and he's really pushy, but he gets things done.
And that's the reason why, and that's kind of funny. You think about that, and that's whenever, my son is 31 years old now.
Yeah, that's about the same age my kids. See, I started having about the same time.
Yeah, but pretty cool. Good memories.
Isn't that
Been
wild?
doing this a long time. Man.
Yeah, see, that's me. I try to get out, and I didn't really get out. I just sold my company to National.
Right.
I said, I'm going to retire. Well, okay, I'll stay for 3 years. Then I stayed for 5 years. Now I stayed for 3 more years. I can't get out.
Yeah, I get to be, I've done a couple things. Whenever my dad first retired, he bought, by choice, by me, he bought a wrecking yard because I've always been so mechanically inclined and enjoyed that. And it was mine. I actually ran it.
I thought you did.
Yeah.
That's been a long time ago.
Yeah. We actually ended up owning 2 of them. We owned We Patch All Wrecking, then we bought A Auto Salvage right there on Union Avenue across from the airport. Okay. And done well. I done well there.
Okay.
But it was one of those deals. I wasn't looking for a job. And I just actually ran in, which it's kind of weird. Richie McGowan. He's almost the same age, which he's the one that passed away. Right, that is my son's wife's dad.
Oh, get out of here.
Yeah, my son is married to Tina McGowan, which is Tina.
I know Tina.
That's my son's wife.
Get out of here.
And I've known Richie forever, and he would always hit me up. Man, I need some rig supervisors that got the experience and know a lot of people and are known here in town. And he always would hit me up, and it was one of those deals that the wrecking yard was doing okay, and he offered me a good pay, and I said, you know what, Dad, I'm gonna go back to doing what I know. And I only did the wrecking yard for a couple of years.
Did you? I met James Vernon.
James is who we actually. That's what got me into all that.
Yeah, I figured it was because with Action Towing, he tried to get everybody into racing because he loved it.
Forget that 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. You might as well just do 7 Degrees of Tim Maples.
No, that's all good. But Tina, she raced too. She raced asphalt out there. I saw her out at Kern County. Was she out there?
No, she raced at the Speedway. Her car stayed. She may have been out, but she didn't race. She doesn't race at the asphalt. She races in the dirt. Okay. She actually, her cars and all of her stuff stayed in my shop.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. Forever. Ever since. Even whenever Richie was still alive, Tina's car and Brad's car, all them stayed at my shop right over here.
I didn't know that.
Forever. Her whole life.
Well, I didn't mean to get off on that, but I know his family. And
I know that we were going to meet with Alan Pounds. That's why I said, is Scott Pounds related to
Yeah,
Alan?
I said, that'd be
his brother.
Yeah, I've known him for almost 40 years.
So you got the basic rundown on who we are, what we do, what we're expecting to achieve here.
I mean, I'd like to hear what you got to say instead of just kind of getting a short story from Chad.
We make a family of products that behave completely differently than anything you've experienced. Okay. And I know this from local empirical evidence. Everybody that I've found a market entry point has reported back. These are credible people. I don't come from a background of the oil fields. I have virtually no experience. Almost everything I know in a short period of time has been delivered by this man and a handful of others like him. I think that just goes to show how good the product is. Okay. Typically my company brings in people with 10, 15 years oil field experience. Sure. I had 0. And I think that really just shows how strong it is. So, we went to Roger at Rival. A lot of people know him. He's not an easy person to deal with. He can be kind of difficult. Right. And we started with what's called spray. It looks like WD-40. Okay. And it replaces a WD-40, a knocker loose, a KB blaster, a carb cleaner, brake cleaner, triflow. Anything that you use as a penetrant or lubricant or protectant, this does it 50 times better. We proved it in court on a cross-axis friction machine. Okay. Applied pressure, the bearing would stop with heavy scarring and damage to all those products I named at about 4,000 to 5,000 psi. Spray our product on it, it went to 200,000 psi with minimal wear and scarring. We couldn't stop the bearing. We flooded it with water, we flooded it with sand, still spinning, cannot stop it. So you can picture what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Right? We got a video, but you don't need
You're talking to the right person about all this.
I understand.
I said somebody.
I can tell when people are assimilating.
Right.
So I'll speed up. But if I get too fast, just say
no. Okay. We're good.
So there's the foundation. That is like the entry level product of our entire family of products.
Sure.
That's the thinnest. They all behave the same, which is molecularly they're positively charged. They're magnetic. They're polarized, which is going to make whatever viscosity product we have bond to metal. and the hotter it gets, the more it's attractive. So you'll see our product actually run to hot spots. So you start to look at pipe on, pipe out. Wait, you're a hot rod guy, right? Sure. Let me just back up. Do you remember Prolong?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This is Prolong.
Okay.
This is Prolong.
Okay.
Obviously, the automotive industry
right.
is not a huge market.
Right.
It was a high tone market. It was a market that everyone knew Prolong, but we weren't selling drums and totes. We're selling 16-ounce bottles.
Understood.
So we went industrial and oil field. Changed the name to Pro One Energy. But that's exactly what it is. There's been virtually no changes in the secret sauce. The Coca-Cola recipe,
yep.
That part's the same. However, it's been blended. We call it the XPL technology, XPL Plus technology. It's been blended with drilling fluids that can be mixed with mud systems,
right.
Motors, top drives, gensets, fleet vehicles, and then we move into my baby, which I've kind of like helped pioneer, just from what I learned from him. This happened from just a trip down a 2-lane road, and showed me a pump jack, and I went, you know what? Instead of selling all these family of products, here that should go in the gear box. This should go on the polish rod. This should go in the stubbing box. A program. Let's sell a program that if it does what we say, you're done. Mm-hmm. I prove it on one. You're going to create the critical mass all on your own. It's scalable without my work, and it's repeatable, and it's annuitized. I can depend on your business each and every month if it does what I say it's going to do. So from the oil, we have a grease. It's a high temp grease, 630 degree grease. It behaves the same way. Bonds to metal, repels water, and it holds up. And I'll give you an example. Those Waukesha fan shafts,
mm-hmm.
the generators.
Oh yeah.
We typically service those about every 45 days, and the service shops see, some pretty good signs of wear. And it's an expensive service. They started using our grease. They went twice as long. Now they've gone 3 times as long, with virtually no wear.
Right.
So that's about $120,000 savings by on those 6 shafts by skipping 2 servicings. We've got a 5-mile conveyor in Colorado. Same thing. They were replacing the bearings on the 30. This is a rock quarry. And they went 60, they went 90, now they pop them at 120. Still, very little signs of wear, but they're like, doesn't matter. We're skipping 3 servicings.
Right.
So when I look at your industry and say, what's the value of extending the interval between major well services? I heard that number is like 60 to 100 grand. What's the value of increasing production? What's the value of my product that bonds to metal and creating a nice film that is going to also act as a scale inhibitor, mm-hmm. a rust inhibitor? Not only is it going to reduce pipe on pipe friction or friction on metal moving parts, but it's also going to reduce liquid friction or water friction. It actually behaves like a set of rollers.
Right.
So as this flows through your system, which I know is going to be the hardest challenge, but as we get it to flow through your system, the way it behaves or aids and benefits your PC pumps is it encapsulates sand and foreign debris, and it lets it pass through the stator, much right. quicker, smoother, without abrasion.
Right.
Those abrasive qualities of what's moving through your pumps over time cause them to fail in your environment much quicker than manufacturer specifications. Mm-hmm. Agreed?
Right. Yes. Okay.
Same thing with ball and seat pumps. Those things get pitted. They get pitted because of they get the abrasive sand, brine, salt, and then you start to lose that seal. So if I can inhibit that and extend the lifespan of that pump, a $2,000 a month program is meaningless. It doesn't
right.
matter. So, and we get people to say this is too good to be true. You're going to extend the lifespan of my parts. You're going to increase my production. You're going to reduce my torque. You're going to reduce my friction by 80%. You're going to reduce liquid friction or water friction.
Right. And
you're going to also throw in a rust and corrosion inhibitor. And oh, by the way, this is a 110 product. It's green, it's environmentally friendly, biodegradable.
Right.
Okay? It's too good to be true. Other people have pitched the same thing I'm pitching. It's too good to be true, which is why we're here.
The biggest thing that...
You want me to be right.
Right. The biggest thing that sticks in my mind is how will we be able to pump it down the wells? Is this something you have a pump, hand pump, carries it back to the truck? Is it something that we do ourselves?
We talked about that.
Bring a drum in here and you know, and pour it down the back side. I know that he was saying you're so thick, and there's a good chance it's not going to make it down. And this is what I like. This is a challenge for me to solve, because this is exactly what I envision happening, where customer, vendor, distributor are all on the same side. You want it to work.
Right.
We want it to work. We're all on the same side. So that's something that I got to get more.
With us dealing with this 12 gravity oil, a lot of these wells, you know, you're looking like he commented, you know, we're talking anywhere from 400 to 600 foot of fluid, you know, over the pump intake, and they build a hell of a pad, and we hot wire these wells, some of them more frequent than the others. But there is something that I thought about that I know we could do, especially on this test well.
You mean methodology for getting it all the way down?
Well, what I actually feel as you were talking, and it bonds, I think I just need to shut the well down and hook up to the tubing side of it and let it suck it down the well.
Just go down from the inside.
Because what it is we would hook up to the 1 inch line, and we could have however much fluid you feel we need to do this test with in a drum.
Let's say, give me the average depth.
3,000 feet is going to be your average.
Okay. And and the average fluid level?
Well, like he said, we got like 600 feet over it.
Over the pump, over the stator rotor, right?
Yeah.
Which is at a kickoff point. These aren't all verticals, right?
No, like this one we're talking about is horizontal. Most of the stuff that we have this high torque is horizontal. None of the vertical wells really give us a high torque.
Okay, so.
But that doesn't mean we can't make it better.
So you're talking about a 600 foot kickoff?
Yeah. Like this well here, intakes at 3144. This is the well we're talking about that has the highest torque that he showed you. Mm-hmm. That was 3144.
And that current torque is what?
1350 is right around that number.
Foot pounds.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And what's your sweet spot for that? What would be?
If we were able to get it down, we wouldn't have no problem with it being at 1350 if we were able to run at 300 RPM.
Which increases production, which is
that's the ultimate goal. That's what we're trying to do. We're running at the torque limit right now. We want to speed it up and keep it at that torque, because the torque rating for these 1/8" rods is around 1600 when they're new. But these are old, and even though they're high strength and they're like a class 2 rod.
So you're running about half the RPM.
We're running half the RPM we want to run.
Okay.
And it's going to be an easy test on this. I don't even care about testing 2 wells. I would like to focus on this well. This is our problem well. I like to be able to prove what we can do on this well. I have other wells that have around 1,000 pound of torque, and we could speed up a little more and we're running like them. But if you're able to fix this well, this is the well that we really sell the product.
So instead of having something that I can average results, you're going to give me the redheaded stepchild.
You bet, because that's where he is.
Give it to him.
That's where he is. I know you can prove the mediocre.
I get it.
You know what I mean? But if we prove this, you didn't improve your product.
When was this last well? When was it serviced? Is it recent?
It's been on for 10 months, and we've been running that well at 150 RPMs at 10 months. Now, we could, if we're able to run at 250, we're going to increase production 70%. You're talking 20-something barrels a day.
So it was last serviced 10 months ago.
Yeah.
What's the normal interval?
Runtime?
No, service interval. Is it a year? About once a year, you think, Scott?
We have some wells that have been on for 3 years. These PCs. Well, we've never had a good success out of this well. That's the wreason why I mean, I could read back and tell you the last times in between. I'll tell you what it was from this.
No, there could be other issues. Is all I'm saying. I'm not.
Yeah.
Weaseling out of it, but I mean, if you've got a scale issue, if there's a major paraffin issue, if there's other issues that my product does not cure, then I don't want them to impede the results of the test.
No, this well here, its whole lifespan since I've been here for 3 years, it's been a rod parting issue, because it has a great big old 725 pump in it, and it originally had 1-inch rods, and we were over torquing the whole time, and it would part once or twice a year.
And
that's still running at a lower RPM that we wanted to. So I talked Chad into go ahead and going in with the 1/8" rods, and I said we'll just run it right at the comfortable number as far as torque, because we were way over torque with the 1" rods, and it's been running fine now.
Now, so you're gonna shut the well down.
And what's nice, just to tell you how that works. I don't know if you know how a PC pump works. Whenever you shut it down, as soon as I shut it down, that fluid turns the rotor and the motor the opposite way.
Correct.
So as it's turning now, I shut it down, it'll start going, woo, and it'll suck all the fluid right down the well. So what it would do is, I would say, I can actually even use my vacuum truck, and what it would do is suck the fluid down that you put in there in the 1 shut that valve, have my vacuum truck hooked up to the 2 with 30 pounds of pressure, and just keep pushing it. I don't think we're gonna push this pad on the backside with all this heavy oil, but the fluid that it's moving, I can actually push it and keep that rotor turning, because it actually will suck it down the well.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
Because it would just give us a chance. We're gonna fight to get down the backside. You're not gonna prove nothing.
Is there any value to pre-mixing? You know, this is emulsifies water. So, you know, let's say we're gonna put a drum into 1,000 gallons of water and pre-mix it. Would that make introducing it down to the bottom easier or more difficult? Or is that an option?
It's an option. I would think it'd probably be best if we did it that way, and I can actually mix it in the hot water